G'day guys and kia ora. My name is Wildkard. Yes, this was one of the most craziest games I've ever seen. In New Zealand, okay? In New Zealand, I have to really specify that. And yeah, did I say I was moving to Christchurch? I was kidding. I was kidding. I never ever wanted to move to Christchurch ever. Only place I would consider in New Zealand is Wellington. And of course, if you are a one-eye Crusader fan, let me just, welcome you to come to Australia. This is what it feels like to be an, Australian Wallabies and Super Rugby fan like every weekend. Okay? Okay, this is what it feels like. And, don't worry about it. You get used to it after 10 years. And it is quite crazy how this worked out. I did not expect to be this bad. In my preview, in my news, I did think that if the Chiefs came out and tried to kick penalty goals, the Crusaders would have a chance. And nope, they did not play like they did against the Reds last week. And they came out and just completely put the Crusaders to the swords. It was pretty bad at the beginning, to be honest. And, the best way to describe the first half is like, one of those, I don't know how many of you guys have done this, but when I was a young guy, as a teenager, I remember trying this random pre-workout and it's called Jacked and it's like misspelled. Okay, some of you guys may know what I'm talking about. Jacked with like wrong spelling. And then after you take these things, right, I don't know what's in it, but it literally makes you feel a bit twitchy. Like you feel like you're almost twitching a little bit because you have so much energy. And then you go to the gym and you just literally feel like you got way too much energy, like you're on 20 coffees or something. And yeah, the Chiefs team look like everybody has taken a bunch of Jacked before the kickoff. And then the Crusaders look like everybody's taking a bunch of, got their meds mixed up and taking some sleeping pills or something. Because every aspect of the game, the Chiefs dominated the Crusaders with speed, power, and just energy. Just the overwhelming energy that the Chiefs had over the Crusaders was just, you can't even compare. And you can't even fault the Crusaders for not trying. They tried their hearts out in the first half, and they just couldn't. It was almost like watching an adult that's just too big for a child. Like it was just no matter how hard the kid tries, the adult's always gonna overpower you with his size and age, right? And this is what it felt like in the first half, and it was so preposterous. At halftime, you almost, I think everybody, including like the cameraman, look like they're preparing to fit. Like that was the finish. There were players coming onto the field shaking hands with like their own teammates, and then like it was crazy how it was just completely blown out. The Chiefs blowing the Crusaders out in the first half, and how badly the Quinton Tupaya was really good as well, especially early on, and Drew just asserted his dominance over Havili a little bit. Havili got smacked and got pumped a little bit. And as a result, he wasn't able to get into the game. So that's one of the crucial areas the Crusaders kind of fell apart. It's a center field. And Braden Eno, when Havili has a bad game, Eno isn't performing. And, I think that the whole back line, especially in the last few rounds, really hinged on Havili stepping up. And after Tupaya kind of like put a few big ones on him, he was looking a little bit out. Another big area the Crusaders was hurting a little bit. I think there's an injury to Fainga Anoku. He looked really slow out there. I don't know if he's just tired or if something happened to him, if he's injured. But, I mean, obviously playing a forward, finally he's found out that playing a forward is a lot more taxing on the energy reserves than playing a center. But he was, like, there was one point where he, like, missed the tackle and then there was a break. And he was jogging at the background looking like a prop or something. Like, he was not in any way, shape, or form able to keep up with the speed. So maybe he was hurt. We'll get a follow-up on that, sometimes soon. But boy, that was brutalizing there as well to see. And the scrum got, there was a one scrum penalty against the Crusaders as well. Everything, the breakdown just got absolutely hammered, including Tupaya turning over the ball. Just like every aspect of the game just got absolutely dominated, right? And then not to mention the absolute insane kicking game out of DMAC and the entire like loose backline, like the backline, what do they call them? The not loose forwards, but like the what do they call it? Outside backs or whatever. Just absolutely dominated the kicking game as well, and just the way that the game is just like whenever a Crusader put a kick out and then D-Mac is just sitting there like picking his options. There was so much space out for them to pick from. And especially when the Crusaders are scrambling, there were just holes everywhere. So many options. They can kick it, they can run it, they can just pass it, and then there would just be space created everywhere around the field. And just keeping the tempo up as a result of that, the Crusaders was just not having to handle. Like we saw like veterans like Sable Ruiz getting beaten, just missed tackles everywhere as a result of this. And this is where I think the importance of having like an experienced like captain, like Scotty Barrett, like it or not, will come into play, would have salvaged the situation, right? The Chiefs clearly had the momentum and they're snowballing. Probably the best word to describe it. They're snowboarding on their advantage, snowboarding on their speed. You need someone like Scooter to just lay on ground a little bit, slow the game down, and then just slow the rocks down, slow the game down, just completely, give yourself a little bit of breather and then regain that tempo back and put yourselves back in the game and then go from there, right? And the Crusaders never was given an opportunity to control that tempo, to control the style of game that they want to play, to, do anything with their game plan, and then just completely got blown away further and further and further throughout the entire first half. Second half, the game did come out a little bit better. The Crusader came out a little bit faster. I think the Chiefs probably wanted to also come down a bit. The jacked, pre-workout has worn off a bit. But the second half was like much closer, but still the Crusaders, despite plenty of opportunities to go for to try to score, they botched a few there. I think they did get one with Havili, but the execution was just not clinical enough to catch up in any sort of meaningful fashion there. But yeah, it is quite crazy to see this result, especially in the semi-final against for the Crusaders as well, who's been doing so well. And let me know your thoughts on how you felt about that one. But I do want to talk about one thing: the halftime. The halftime instructions from the Crusaders coaching box was to speed the game up. In fact, I thought I was like, I thought maybe because obviously it's already the second half and you're already down by like 40 something points at that point. You got to speed the game up to potentially catch up, right? Otherwise, you can't. There's no chance of winning anymore. I guess that kind of from that perspective kind of makes sense. But I thought they needed to slow the game down and control the tempo, right? But then it's probably too late. I guess maybe that's why the instruction was to speed the game up even more and just really win the collisions. But it's kind of, I just thought that that's kind of, that's the mistakes they made. I think, in my opinion, that's the mistake that they made early on in the game when it's like, 14 points nil. They try to speed the game up, only resulting in more errors, more opportunities for the Chiefs to exploit. The kicking game wasn't really pressured properly. The set piece wasn't set up properly. Things that just because they try to push too far and then getting isolated, the breakdowns, getting turned over. I thought the instruction at that point from the coaching box should have been like just slow it down, really put it to a grinding halt, and then try to pick up the tempo again as the Chiefs comes off that adrenaline, right? And then the halftime was like speed it up a bit more. I thought it was interesting the instruction there. I wonder if they had any instructions to the team when they were 14 points down, right? Was there any communication being sent of what to do? And I do feel like if you have someone like Scotty Barrett, he would have slowed the game right down, right? He would have given away stupid penalties and have a chat with the referee, and then just make sure that the momentum is being stifled as much as possible. And let me know your thoughts on that. And this would be the final game for the coach Rob Penny as well. He's leaving. And a couple of maybe injury concerns for potentially the All Blacks. Obviously Fainga Anoku looked like he was something wrong with him, and then or maybe nothing was wrong. Maybe he was just having a bad day, right? Maybe the experiment failed today, right? But Tupaia had it look like maybe an ankle injury. He played on for a little bit. But like that could be something to sweat a little bit because he has been pretty outstanding, really really good. Sometimes I do think that he probably overplays his hands a little bit, and occasionally he gets missed tackles as a result of it. But just the energy, the pressure he brings has been so good, and hopefully he's not injured for the All Blacks season that is coming up. So let's have a look at the match stats of the game. 7 tries to 2. My goodness, it was like 6 tries in the first half already. It was crazy. 458 run meters for the Chiefs, the 565 for the Crusaders. The Crusaders definitely had plenty of opportunities. 128 carries, especially in the second half to come back. The execution wasn't there. So I wonder if the speeding it up, speed the game up was the right call there. I mean, it's probably too late, like I said. You're just making more mistakes. 25 defenders beaten for the Crusaders, 21. So Crusaders actually had more defenders beaten. 24 turnovers conceded. That's probably what hurt them the most. 15 against the Chiefs. 142 tackles for the Crusaders, 146 for the Chiefs. 25 missed tackles for the Chiefs, 21 for the Crusaders. 42 kicks in play. This is what I was talking about. The kicking game was absolutely dominant. Just with impunity, they just do whatever they want, and the Crusaders could not keep up. 26 in play, kicks and 1 miss. Correct me if I'm wrong. Reihana has a higher kick conversion percentage, and Taha Kemera has basically 50%. Is that just me? I'm pretty sure Reihana is a lot better, and for some reason in a crucial game like this, knowing could come down to it didn't, but knowing it could have come down to a couple penalty goals. Reihana was on the bench and Kemera was starting and missing the first conversion as well, so didn't really make sense there for me there as well. 1,163 kick meters for the Chiefs, 749 for the Crusaders. To be honest, the meters are quite not that crazy considering the amount of kicks that was put out there for the Chiefs. So yeah, they definitely just control that so well, and Crusaders were just it's not just the meters, it's the quality of the kick. Was just much better placed from DMAC and co. 9 lineouts, 1 loss for the Chiefs. 12 lineouts, 2 loss for the Crusaders. 1 scrum loss for the Crusaders, like I say in the first half, near the try line as well. 5 penalties conceded only against the Chiefs. 1 yellow card. This was near the end. There was a kickoff, and then what was his name? Tried to get the ball. Fablin, I think his name is. Tried to catch the ball and jumped into a player that was in the air. Yellow card. 11 penalties against the Crusaders. No yellow cards whatsoever there. So yeah, let's do a quick point summary for this one. Not too much to talk about. The game was a lot of pressure was sustained early. The Crusaders scrambling, hanging on. Took 10 minutes for the Chiefs to finally build some pressure. There was a turnover from Tupaya. They had a penalty, and they had like a line out, a little short ball down the sideline, and in the little train tracks, and then just a lot of piling in. The ball pick and drive, and then the ball went out wide, over the top long to Tamoe Folau, was wide open, overlap, ran in for the try. Finally broken after 10 minutes, 7 points to nil, after sustaining a lot of pressure for the Crusaders. And after this, things just start to snowball. 14 minutes, missed tackles everywhere. This was like a FIFA Soccer World Cup move, okay? Damien McKenzie was midfield, and he grubber kicked this ball towards the sideline, towards Tamoe Folau that was running through, and Tamoe Folau soccer kicks this ball back in field, right under the goalpost. Literally looked like he was trying to kick to score the goal, and then he followed it through and scooped it up for the try. 14 points to nil. 20 minutes in the game, there was a scrum penalty. Not a scrum penalty, just a scrum in midfield. The ball came out, just nice little hands out wide to Foketi at 13. Lolakai Foketi, they used to play for the Wallabies. He looked crazily good for the Chiefs today. He stepped through Enor, and then he ran down the sideline, linked back into Hutchinson, who ran in for the try. 21 points, nil. 21 minutes, Fainga Noku looked like something's wrong. He wasn't able to keep up. There was a line break. He couldn't follow through. 23 minutes, there was a scrum penalty for the Chiefs. They just picked and go for the number 8 to the open side. Just quickly follow through a couple more pick and goes. And Samasani Takiaho drives over for the try. 28 points to nil. 25 minutes in the game. Finally, the Crusaders get something. There was an exit box kick that was knocked back for the Crusaders. And then the ball got spread out wide to Taha Kemena. He wiggles through a bunch of defenders and then linked up with Fihaki, who ran in for the try for the Crusaders. 35 points to fight, not able to convert this. After this, 28 points to the fight. After this, 30 minutes, the Chiefs was once again camped inside the Crusader half. This was like, I think there was a line out. The ball came out to D-Mac, to Tupaya. And Tupaya did not do the crash ball, spun the ball out to D-Mac, and D-Mac spun the ball out again, like deep ball to what's his name? Carter, Leroy Carter, who ran a nice unders line, come back in field and just ran straight through a scrambling Crusaders defense. 35 points to 5 after this. 33 minutes in the game. There was another little kicking game going on to midfield to what's his name? To Fabling. He did a little kick over the top, and then he recovered it himself. Yeah, he just ran straight through, and then linked up with Foketi down wide, and Foketi ran down the sideline, passed back in field to Tupuvai, who ran through for the try. 42 points to 5, and that's the halftime score. And it looked like everybody, pretty much acknowledged that this was the end of the game. And then, second half coming in, really, the Crusaders came out, put a lot of pressure on, not able to score for a very long time, just fumbled it over the line, sort of things. And it took 62 minutes. Finally, the Crusaders was able to get a scrum, send a few crash ball for Havili, who crashed through 42 points to 12. And then 62, there was a yellow card against Fabling. And then against the Chiefs down to 14. Even down to 14, the Crusaders couldn't score. 78 minutes just before full time. The Chiefs piled in front of the try line, pick and go. And then eventually Xavier Rowe darts in for the try. 49 points to 12. Absolutely clinical. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the other semifinals. Cheers.